Hi guys! Say, are you an artist, an animator, 3D sculptor, photographer, designer, or just a YouTuber editing videos? Then hang on tight because today we're going to review the BenQ PD2700U 4K monitor made for designers and other creatives. So this is actually my first time reviewing a product that is not a drawing tablet, and I am super excited about this! The BenQ PD2700U was made for designers in the fields of animation, industrial design, and commercial design. You know, all of the amazing heads out there. However, I'm reviewing it from an artist and a YouTuber's perspective. As creatives in the digital world, we spend a tremendous amount of time in front of our screens, and like any other tool or equipment that we have at our disposal, we should make sure that we use the right one for us. So in this video, I'll share my impressions and thoughts on the BenQ PD2700U computer monitor for designers and other creatives. A short disclosure, BenQ has sent me this monitor to review it on my channel. And that's it. That's the deal. No requirements, no pre-approval, just my honest opinion on the video. And to add an extra little fact about my background with this monitor, I've been using it and testing it in my daily workflow for the past month. That's a whole month prior to this video's release. Straight out of the box, the monitor is super easy to assemble. Just click the stand together and tighten it by using the single screw at the bottom. Then snap the stand onto the monitor itself and you are set up in about 2 minutes. With the monitor you get manuals and a driver CD, the factory calibration report for the monitor, we'll get back to this, a power supply, a DisplayPort to mini DisplayPort cable, a USB cable, and an HDMI cable. The BenQ PD2700U is a 27-inch 4K resolution monitor which allows extraordinary clarity of the fine details and textures in your digital work. The monitor is compatible with PC, laptops, and Macs as well. The monitor displays 100% sRGB from any viewing angle and supports an HDR10 mode, which is turned on automatically when you play HDR video content. It also has different work modes that you can easily switch between depending on the work you're doing. Or you can just do a split view and work on several modes at the same time. The work modes include CAD/CAM mode, animation mode, darkroom mode, and a lot more. On the back you find the HDMI port, the DisplayPort in, the mini DisplayPort and the DisplayPort out, a jack for your headphones, but most exciting, the 2 upstream and 4 additional USB-free downstream ports. It just means that you now have more USB ports available right there on your monitor. I'm always out of available USB ports and find myself often go switch cables around on the back of my computer beneath my table. Or have a mess of cables running on the front. With these additional USB ports on the monitor itself, I now have a much more optimized and organized setup with all of my devices connected at once. The image on the monitor is designed to be flicker-free and have low blue light as well as brightness intelligence. That means it auto-adjusts its own brightness to your work environment. See how noticeable the color difference is between the BenQ monitor on the left compared to my old Samsung monitor on the right. The BenQ appears more warm, which makes it a lot more comfortable to look at for long periods of time. By the way, I can't help but compare my 2 monitors since they have both been in my daily workflow for the past month. For your knowledge, my old Samsung monitor is from 2017 and it is the monitor on the right, and the BenQ is the monitor on the left throughout the entire video. The view angle on the BenQ monitor is much better than on my Samsung monitor. In these clips you can see the comparison of view angles. You can see that as soon as I start moving around my Samsung monitor, the image gets contrasted and dark, whereas on the BenQ it stays the same no matter what angle I look at it from. The BenQ also supports a 45-degree left to right angle and a -5 to 20-degree tilt. You can easily adjust its height up to 14 centimeters, and if you want, you can rotate it all the way around to portrait mode as well. This monitor has so many features. I put a link to the monitor's product page in the description below so you could go check out all of them yourself. I decided to focus on the features that's very relevant to me. However, there are 2 more features I really want to highlight before I move on to my impressions. This monitor has a KVM switch. It's also called a keyboard video mouse switch. It allows you to hook up 2 different PC systems to just one monitor and easily switch between them. It's very handy if you do a lot of computer rendering, like videos. So while one computer is rendering, you can just switch the display over to the other computer and continue working on whatever you're doing over there while the other computer is rendering. The last feature I'm going to highlight is the daisy chaining. Yeah, it sounds cute and fancy. A feature that allows you to extend screens across several displays using DisplayPort outputs for setting up multiple monitors without using up all the ports in your PC. So the monitors link together and only occupy one slot on your computer. And because the edge on the monitor is so thin, it looks very seamless when you put 2 of these monitors together. I'm considering buying a second BenQ just for this effect, because I'd love to work with multiple monitors. Now that the main relevant features have been covered, let's move on to my hands-on experience and impressions. I have been using the BenQ monitor as my secondary screen since my primary screen is attached directly to the wall and it's pretty hard to just move out of the way. Although I must admit that I would actually prefer to use the BenQ as my main screen since I find it much more comfortable to look at and it better represents the colors and the contrast in my work. In these clips you can see the same drawing displayed on both monitors. I suppose it's also a matter of personal taste, but I definitely like the version on the BenQ monitor more. I tried to calibrate my Samsung monitor to match the BenQ, but even with the calibration report from BenQ in hand, I wasn't able to mimic the same colors or lighting on my Samsung monitor at all. It just didn't give me all of those options. Speaking of which, this calibration report is proof that your BenQ monitor lives up to and is calibrated for industry color standards to deliver the most representative view of the original content. This is pretty cool, and I can finally stop worrying too much about whether the colors I see represented on the screen actually represents the colors that I used, because screens can show colors in so many different ways, as you probably noticed from my old screen and the BenQ screen. Upon setting up and turning on the monitor for the first time, I was met with a blue screen that just said, "No cable connected." After 2 or so minutes of asking Uncle Google, I found out that all I had to do was shift the source on the monitor. It's really simple. It's like telling your monitor which cable you want it to display from. But what about if you have a display tablet too? A drawing monitor? In my case, I have 2 PC monitors and then an additional drawing monitor. That's 3 monitors. Does everything work together? For me, it does. I was actually initially a little worried that I would have to turn off one of the screens in order to use my drawing monitor. All of the drawing monitors I have owned and used requires to use the HDMI port, and my computer only have one of those. So I pretty much rely on my monitors to support DisplayPort or Mini DP. I've drawn my setup here so you can get an idea of how it looks when it's all connected. And I don't have any color issues or resolution issues or anything when everything is hooked up at the same time. It just works. I find myself slowly moving more and more over to the BenQ monitor for proofing, and I'm trying to browse on that one as well during nighttime over the Samsung. I even found out that the BenQ has different eye saving modes depending on what activity you're doing. That's pretty cool because the eye saving mode on my Samsung sucks. These 2 monitors are actually in the same price range. The BenQ PD2700U costs approximately £430, equal to approximately $535 at the time of publishing this video. When I bought my Samsung monitor back in the late 2017, it cost me approximately $590, so it's more expensive than the BenQ monitor. The only real difference between the 2, in which I do favor the Samsung monitor, is the response time. The BenQ has a 5 millisecond response time, whereas my Samsung has only 1 millisecond, which makes it more optimal for gaming, but I did play some Overwatch on the BenQ monitor, And honestly, I couldn't really tell that there was a difference at all. So how do I conclude this review without sounding like an obsessing fangirl? I have reached the point where I just kind of want to move my wall-attached Samsung away and use the BenQ as my main screen instead. It's just much more comfortable to look at, and I prefer the colors it shows and its calibration over my Samsung monitor. I don't feel the sneaky headache causing by straining my eyes so much when I work on the BenQ, and I really just appreciate the sleek design and its features. If I'm going to point out one thing I don't like about the BenQ monitor, it is its energy label. It might sound silly to focus on this, but with today's standards and focus on the climate, I don't think a B quite cuts it. I mean, not that my Samsung monitor is any better, it's a B as well, and I think a lot of monitors is in this range, but I would have preferred it to be at least an A. So, speaking as an artist and a YouTuber, would I recommend other creatives to get the BenQ PD2700U monitor? Absolutely. You get a 27-inch 4K monitor offering additional USB ports, built-in work modes for different kinds of work, pre-calibrated to match industry standards, and saves you a lot of eye pain. And I know that over $500 for a monitor is a lot of money to a lot of people, but you get so much value in this monitor and all of its features. It appears to me that BenQ clearly know what they're doing, and that's why they weren't afraid to ask me for my very honest opinion on the monitor. They probably knew I would love it. And it's not that my old monitor is bad. It just isn't made with designers in mind. More likely it was made for gamers. But even for gaming, I would prefer the visual representation of my BenQ. Heck, you can even hook your PlayStation or your Xbox or whatever up to it. And you can check out the links in the description below if you want to read more about the monitor. Whew, I'm almost out of breath. Okay guys, that was the review of the BenQ PD2700U monitor. I really hope you enjoyed it. I thought it was really interesting to take a look at a different kind of project than the usual drawing tablets. Remember to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel for all kinds of different art content in the future as well. Thank you so much for watching along guys, and I'll see you next time. Okay, thanks, bye!